How you doing? This is Mari Cruz, Crypto Rican Queen, bringing the gap between the rich and the poor, coming for the great state of Texas. And I'm here with somebody very important from the group of Ralytics. Her name is Lourdes Miranda, and I'm here to present to you her. So take it over and tell us a little bit about who are you, how you got into this field, and how can you help people like me about what we need to know in crypto and compliance, right?
Well, yes. Hi, Mari. Thank you. I'm honored that you invited me to speak. I'm happy to be here. As you mentioned, my name is Lourdes Miranda. I'm the chief consultant at Ralytics, Ralytics FinTech Advisory Group. We are a consulting firm based in Florida, also in Washington, D.C., and we offer compliance and investigative services, risk management services for fintech startups, crypto exchanges, money service businesses in the United States, as well as outside the United States. We have a global presence, have a team of great people who have crypto backgrounds, law enforcement backgrounds, intelligence backgrounds, working with regulators, working with financial institutions. And me, in a nutshell, I've been in the Washington, D.C. area almost 30 years. And prior to joining Ralytics, I was in the federal government. I have a law enforcement background and also worked in the intelligence communities, worked at FBI and CIA. I can say that out loud because it's on my LinkedIn profile. Decided to go corporate because I love crypto and I love supporting fintech startups and exchanges, and money service businesses. So here I am. Thank you for having me.
Wow. That is amazing. I mean, amazing background. I want people to know that Lourdes is a Latina. So that's important. I think that's something that you didn't mention. After all your accomplishments on why is it that it's bigger, whatever you say is bigger than what you said, because as minorities, it's not easy to get to certain places. And so I gotta like commend you for all that you've done and you're doing. And I know you're a proud Latina, proud born Puerto Rican, right?
Thank you, Mari. Yes, I thought my hair would give me away and the earrings, but since you mentioned it, I'm Puerto Rican, born and raised in New York. My parents were born in Puerto Rico. I still have family in Puerto Rico and New York as well. I moved to the DC area, Washington, DC area for work. So I'm proud to be here. And I'm so honored that you are the crypto queen, the Boricuan. And so I'm glad we connected. I'm glad we connected.
So let's talk about what you wanted to talk about. Well, we need to talk about how bad actors are exploiting social media, and this is something that, man, it's a prevalent problem in our space. Tell us a little bit about that.
It is. We all know social media is not going anywhere, and we've noticed as compliance officers and as crypto investigators, even financial crime investigators, we noticed that social media platforms like Clubhouse, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, Telegram, and Discord are being exploited. Bad actors are taking advantage of the fact that they can literally go on social media and complain about our vendors and engage in fraud on social media. And I'll give you a perfect example. We have bad actors literally going on Twitter, for example, complaining live on Twitter, accusing and vilifying this cross-border payments platform, this startup, this crypto exchange, that their customer service representatives are not refunding them a transaction. Now, we all know as of today in 2023, once a crypto transaction goes through, it cannot be undone. But I'm sure somebody out there, some genius out there is creating a platform where you can actually start reversing transactions, right? You call in, say, can you reverse my transaction? I made a mistake. But as of 2023, I don't see it unless you've seen that platform. So what they're doing, they're calling customer service, hoping that customer service representatives don't have a strong crypto background. And they're saying, hey, I made a $1,000 US transaction in my wallet from my external wallet onto your platform. I want a refund. I made a mistake. So they'll tell the customer service rep it was $1,000 worth of Bitcoin they transfer from their external wallet onto their current platform. And And in reality, the transaction was only $10. $10 BUSD or 10 USDT.
Really? And the customer service are falling for it?
Some of them don't have the knowledge or don't have the strong background. So our job as consultants is to train customer reps, train customer service people, say, hey, heads up. You need to understand the difference between a Bitcoin address, a Monero address, and an Ether address. Because those out there in the audience know Bitcoin starts with a Bitcoin address, or public key starts with a 1-3 BC1Q, BC1, whatever. And Monero starts with an 8 or a 4, or Ethers with OX. It starts with OX, and a lot of customer service representatives don't know that public key is not the accurate key. Accurate address. Yeah, so a bad actor would say, hey, I sent $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, I want a refund, and please refund my external wallet, or they want in a fiat conversion. So the customer service reps, and their job is to resolve complaints immediately, keep the customer happy, so they'll refund that bad actor $1,000 US.
Really? That's crazy, because
the actor only transferred 10 USDT, BUSD, or whatever, because the customer service rep doesn't realize that the first couple of characters of a crypto address, it says a lot, indicates a lot, it tells you.
Exactly.
So we train them, correct. So we train them before you do anything, before you reverse charges and give them a refund back into their wallet or convert it into fiat, into their local currency, pop that address into a blockchain analytics, verify if that's an actual Bitcoin address before you do anything.
Because we got Etherscan, we got so there's different ways for different blockchain addresses to be checked.
Yes.
It's sad that this is happening, because I had a problem where I got sent USDCE, which is a USDC in the AVAX blockchain, and the exchange wallet was not available. So this was kind of like in a limbo, and it took me weeks to get that money back. So the people that have real legitimate needs to get their money back are being messed up with this people that are scamming people. That's very, very, very sad. Wow.
Correct. And a lot of platforms have what you call supported wallets, supported addresses, and unsupported addresses. And I remind customer service, not only just customer service, because they're the first line of defense when it comes to compliance. We train compliance officers, heads up, make sure you understand the first couple of characters of an address before you engage in any refunds or continue or escalate anything. And a lot of actors, a lot of startups and fintechs have identified their supported addresses on their website. Supported addresses meaning only this platform will only accept Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin. Yeah. Unsupported addresses, our platform does not accept unsupported addresses like Monero or Ether and so forth. And, we also teach compliance officers and investigators, understand what address type you're looking at before you start anything. So understand it, because, I always remind teams, customer support is the first line of defense. Once that first line of defense is penetrated, your platform becomes vulnerable. Now the bad actor knows your vulnerabilities. The bad actor on your platform.
So I was going to ask you something, because the problem is that sometimes there's phishing websites, and it seems like that's the customer service. Not. It happened to one of my customers. He got an email saying that his KuCoin account was suspended, and he clicked on that link, and then it took him to some kind of website. He thought it was KuCoin. Then these people said, "We're going to call you." Okay, would any exchange call, any customer service exchange could call anybody? Yes or no? The answer is no. So then they told him, "Oh, because your account was compromised, we need to put something in your computer and take over your computer, remote controlling your computer," which is what? Is that good or bad for anybody? To let somebody get a packet bad, right? So they use this account as a mule account. They move all this money from all these accounts, put millions of dollars in his account, and they move all that money from his account. So who does it seem like it did that, him or the guy?
You're right, because not only do they use money mules, like you said, then the money mules create funnel accounts, and then bad actors have these money mules, or the bad actors hack into the system and create ghost accounts. And those in the financial crimes world know, I should say, ones who combat and investigate financial crimes, funnel accounts, ghost accounts are very popular when it comes to bad actors opening up wallets. Yes. And they use money mules. That is correct. Yes.
And they have to contact the FBI and a bunch of,
Yeah.
because it seems like it might tax evade too. Because if it was him and he moved all these millions of dollars, we talk about tax problems, we're talking about legal problems and all this stuff.
Money laundering,
The bad part is that my client didn't know he got scammed, and because he called me, I was able to tell him, you got scammed. You need to close your bank accounts. You need to stop your computer.
Yeah.
You need to contact credit bureaus. You need to call the police. All kinds of stuff that would have been a bigger damage. How important is this for saving people's monies and investments, not only from the individual perspective, but also from the institutional perspective?
Very important. I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm sure you heard the term rug pulling, right? The investment schemes that these bad actors are engaging in, creating these websites. So from a compliance perspective, a couple of weeks ago, I did training on the other KYC. We always say when we think KYC, we think of know your customer. I train people to think like a criminal, know your criminal, the other KYC, think how they're thinking. So bad actors. So to answer your question, if I was investing in crypto or any type of trade involving crypto, I will look at the person's website. A website says a lot about bad actors. Bad actors don't know what compliance officers are looking for. So if I were to consult, I say, you know what, look at the website. If the website doesn't have their terms of use, right? The website must have terms of use. If the website doesn't have terms of use, and it better be at least 40 pages long in legitimate language, that's a bad website. The website better have a privacy policy. Without a privacy policy with the right buzzwords, because compliance officers know what to write. Bad actors don't. So I look at a website. So before I invest, I look at the website and I read what contains on the website. And your products and services on the website. The website can tell a lot, whether it's a bad actor or an exchange that has a weak compliance program or no compliance program. So, and also a legal tab on the website. Legitimate, strong websites that meet compliance requirements have those tabs: terms of use, privacy policy, a legal tab. Now, I won't tell you what language to add there, but compliance officers, experienced compliance officers and experienced investigators and regulators and auditors and inspectors know what to look for on a website. And if things are missing on the website, we know it's not legitimate. So website says a lot. So without disclosing our methodologies, those are three important tabs that we look for. And for bad actors out there who are listening to this, I'm not going to tell you what we're looking for, like what language to look for, but we know what to look for.
Yeah.
So
and the email, because we got the part of where institutions or individuals are getting emails that are not from these people. Really, it's not Coinbase, it's not KuCoin, it's not any of this stuff. And so we got the website part, because I shown some of these emails of fake emails, basically trying to fish for information. How prevalent is that in your area?
Very much so. Sadly, bad actors, they create legitimate looking emails, like with the L Miranda at the name of the company.io. That looks like a legitimate email, right? I would do searches on that company. Do your due diligence on that company. Believe it or not, there are services out there that individuals and companies can use to conduct due diligence. We have a service where in the compliance world we call vendor risk management. We actually have a service that we use to conduct due diligence on vendors and partners before we engage in any contract with them. And individuals can do a Google on risk management on a vendor, and all these companies, including myself, we will pop up in that search that we would conduct due diligence on that company based on that email, right? That company, company.io, company.com, and do research on that company name just based on the email alone. We actually do due diligence on that one email. To us as investigators and compliance officers and risk managers, auditors and inspectors out there, that email is a strong lead for us. Really strong lead for us. That email tells a lot for us, and it generates other leads for us. Yes. So there are platforms out there for you to conduct due diligence on that email. Yes. Yes.
And do you think people need to know anything more about the address type fraud and the importance of guarding your private keys, you know, and being careful with, you know, your information?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you, thank you for bringing up address type fraud again, and how bad actors commit address type fraud by exploiting social media. One of the things that bad actors need to remember, and this I can say publicly, that we monitor, compliance officers, investigators, risk managers like myself, we monitor social media just like they do. And we know the buzzwords. We like, this is a bad actor, or this is a schmuck, just a pain in the ass customer. We know the difference just by the language. I'm not going to tell you the language that we look for,
of course,
but we do monitor social media. We have teams that invest. We have teams full-time monitoring social media. We have social media directors that monitor, you know, they do social media to market and promote our products and services, but their team also monitors bad actor activity because they know what to look for. Because I'll tell you one indicator of a bad actor exploiting social media to commit address type fraud is complaining about the company. It's an indicator for a lot of regulators, law enforcement, compliance officers, and intelligence communities that when a bad actor is complaining about a company, it says two things. Either one, he's a bad actor, or two, that company has a weak or no compliance program. So regulators are also monitoring social media and what's being said about a company. So if I had a company and I had all these complaints about my company on social media, the regulators are going to look at like, what's going on with that company? Is that a legitimate company, right? Because bad actors want to commit fraud. So they create this website. Hi, open an account with us. And then everybody's complaining about them. So it says a lot. It's either a front company or a bad actor exploiting a legitimate company to get refunds, to get money back.
So that just like brought me to something that happened to me.
Tell me. Yes,
this is a little bit embarrassing. So basically,
no, don't be embarrassed.
I was trying to seek I was just calling some legal offices to offer some of my services, and they were rude. So I complained in Google.
Yeah.
What do you think happened to me because of the complaint that I did?
You tell me.
The worst thing that can happen to anybody in the United States of America. When you piss somebody off, what is it?
Block you? Put you on a blacklist?
I wish. No, I got sued. I got sued for complaining because this is what happened. I know this sounds like far-fetched, but here in Texas, anyway, this is what happened. I guess there was a coordinated attack of some individuals or some groups towards this specific law firm. They thought that I was part of that group.
They thought you were a bad actor.
Exactly. So they sue me. But when they noticed that they did research, I only complained one time. They said that I never called, but I had proof that I called. But anyway, it ended up being that they just dropped me from the case list. But they had all this. So I got this, and the weirdest thing, I thought it was a fake thing, because when I got the email, it was an email summons. It wasn't, because it was COVID time.
Of course.
It wasn't a physical summons. I never heard of that where you can serve. So that's what happened to me. I got sued for complaining about this these lawyers because they thought I was part of this group of people. It's just like weird how, right?
That's ridiculous. Well, offline, when we're offline, I want you to give me that law firm, because I don't want to use that law firm, because we work with law firms, right? Because compliance officer investigators work with legal every day. Because if they're attempted to sue you because you complained, that's ridiculous. You weren't threatening them, right?
No, I didn't threaten them. I just said that they were rude.
You weren't spamming them with complaints. That's ridiculous.
I only just left one complaint saying that they were rude, that they need to train their customer service. That's it. And that was it.
That was
like, what?
That was a great recommendation on your part. You weren't even complaining. You gave them a recommendation. That's ridiculous. Definitely, when you and I are offline, I want to know that firm. So I'm going to add that firm to.
Let's talk about the third thing that we need to talk about: pig butchering, romance scams that came from China. Because I have dealt with this. This is weird because you're in the compliance. I'm not in compliance, but I deal with a lot of security for my clients, and I have to tell them, hey, look at this, look at that, so that you don't get scammed, right? So
correct.
Tell us a little bit about pig butchering in China and how it came here, because I bet nobody has heard about this anyway. So
it's funny. Pig butchering is an English translation of a Chinese term. So off the top of my head, I don't know the Chinese term, but I'm going to give the Chinese credit. It's basically pig butchering is a translation from a Chinese term. And basically pig butchering is romance scams. Remember back in the day where social engineering, people would rummage through trash or call the reception and get information? That was the traditional method of social engineering. Now it's social media, right? And now these romance scams involving crypto. These bad actors are going on dating apps. They're actually calling people, texting people, and using social media to reach out to people and basically romance them, gain their trust. And then, oh, by the way, I'm in crypto trading. Are you interested? Believe it or not, I'm on Instagram personally, right? Because I love music. I love to follow my friends and family in music. And I get these bad actors on Instagram trying to romance me. Oh,
TikTok, Clubhouse, right? Everywhere.
TikTok, Clubhouse. Oh,
WhatsApp.
Man, yes.
Your normal phone now, because now they're like, hey, how you doing, Michael? I missed you. This is not Michael. Oh, so what is your name? Tell me about you. Like from that, and usually have the pictures of Chinese women, really pretty Chinese women that look like almost like a robot type of thing, right?
An avatar. Yes. Oh, I get it too. We all get it. But, you and I are experienced people, and, it's sad, but sadly, a lot of people are scammed, especially older people who are not familiar, but the dating apps, there are legitimate dating apps. Like, I'm not going to list the legitimate dating apps, but they're out there. And then it's like, crypto is in. And then they see on my Twitter, my background's Ralytics on Twitter, that I'm in crypto. So they'll jump on Twitter and they jump on Instagram on my accounts.
They attack us more because they see that we are interested. They go for people that are interested. It's easier to follow people, to actually trap people into, to their greed. How much these people deal with greed, and how this, I don't know if you studied the psychological things that they use, because they have templates. This is a very, very well crafted scam. Can you talk about that aspect?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. We have learned by just conducting crypto investigations and my contacts in the intelligence community that bad actors are buying scripts on the dark web. I mean, they're not even smart enough to modify the script. It's the same language. And believe it or not, I've gotten copies of that script. And for those out there, I don't recommend you going onto the dark web from your personal computer or laptop or your phone. That should be on an independent, controlled platform in a safe environment with VPNs. And
what about ChatGPT now? Because they're going to use ChatGPT to craft it more psychologically to attack people's greed and their neediness.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you that I met somebody, because people call me all the time and they tell me that they got scammed from TikTok. Well, there was a lady that started talking to this guy in December in a dating app. A week later, she has sent him 40, 50K. And I'm thinking, you didn't even see this guy. You never talked to him. Everything
Yeah.
was online. How the heck you send 40K? Like I'm trying to conduct my business and do things
Yeah.
legally. And it's not easy for people to be like, oh, Mari, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't get the psychology. And I actually talked to somebody yesterday that got into this company called Novatech. I don't know if you heard of them, which has had different security issues with the government in different states.
Yes.
And he just met somebody in TikTok. They went into his Zoom. 3 days later, he sent them 1,500. And I said, why are you thinking? I've been talking to you guys about self-custody, about not sending your money to somebody for them to trade it for you, but you take advantage of your money. Would you give me the keys to your house? Because you basically give them the keys to your house. You send me the keys of your house, or send me $1,500, just like you did, because at least I'm legitimate. Like seriously, I told him that to make you
give me your password or PIN. That's even better.
Like seriously.
Right? Yeah. I've had bad actors reach out to me and say, hey, I'm new at crypto. I want to practice. Can I send you some crypto to your wallet to practice? That's my favorite. I'm like, block. I don't want to practice with you.
Listen, can you please tell people how scary it is for you to send somebody your public address? Because how many times I had MetaMask and people will send me some airdrops and they're fake coins, and how they can actually erase all your account in a second.
Correct. Like as you know, you're the expert as well, Madi. You know, I don't give someone I don't know my public key, because your public key is like your checking account number. Are you kidding me? Because a bad actor can use your public key, also known, like a checking account number, to move funds. And next thing you know it, your public key that you generated from your legitimate wallet, your legitimate crypto exchange, is on the FBI's radar. For those out there who are not familiar with crypto, let me give you an example from a traditional sense back in the day before crypto. Phone numbers. To this day, I never let a stranger use my phone. Never. Bad actors, airports, train stations, bus stations, bad actors are notorious for asking people, can I borrow your phone? I got to call my friend. I lost my phone.
Swap SIM cards. Boom.
I travel a lot, and my favorite is the woman with the baby and talking to me in Spanish. Can I borrow your phone? I'm like, and I say to her in Spanish, this is at an international airport. And it's like, security's right there. They can use their phone. So it's like your public key, your Bitcoin address. I want to give a stranger my address. It's like as if I want to give my stranger my phone, smartphone, to make a call, because law enforcement, as well as the intelligence communities, they monitor phones, they monitor phone calls, they monitor transactions.
And the bank, a lot of us look at our banks in our phones. You can't share your phone with anybody. And so,
this is my favorite. And sadly, I've noticed this a lot because I travel a lot for work and for pleasure. People use their cell phone number as a PIN. Don't do that. You'll walk into a Starbucks or to a store, and to get your Starbucks points, or at a CVS or a Walgreens points, it's like, oh, can I give you my phone number? And they say it out loud.
Oh, yes.
And they use their phone as their PIN. And trust me, I've been in law enforcement a long time. I was working in the intelligence community. Good people like me do that. We collect phone numbers. When we target bad actors, we follow a bad actor into a coffee shop. I'm behind him, ready to order my coffee. He's giving me his phone number, and I'm like recording him. I'm like, can get a latte to go, please? And I just recorded his phone number. What a great lead.
Oh my gosh. So talking about bad actors.
Yes.
So bad actors. So basically there was actually in TikTok a scam where people clone influencers. Like I've been there's accounts of me that say Crypto Rican Queen 1 or something else to scam people. And so I took several scam rings with the help of some people, and found these people were from Australia, Nigeria, and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I was able to use a phone and different things to actually get back to these people. Now I got harassment. So I want to go to that point. How do you guys protect yourselves when you're doing compliance stuff from being harassed by these bad actors? Because already happened to me, girl. Like seriously, like what in the world?
Well, I block everybody most of the time. I get a lot of, I believe it, I get a lot of pitches on LinkedIn. I get a lot of pitches on all social media platforms. If I don't know you, I'm not going to connect with you. I'm not going to accept your connect request. I block you very quickly. I'm very cautious to the point of paranoia. I mean, when I travel, I still bring a prepaid phone when I travel. I don't use my smartphone. I take it with me just in case, but I always travel with a burner phone, always. Because a lot of bad actors in airports, train stations, bus stops, bus depots, even on ships, bad actors use these machines, platforms to steal your data while you're on your
like
personal
NFC, right? Like NFC, just touching your phone.
Yeah.
Just stuff
I turn
like
off
that.
my phone when I even turn my phone off before I even hit the airport, but turn on my prepaid phone. I turn my phone off. Back in the day before prepaid phones, now I'm aging myself. When I would go to a specific secure facility or an airport, I would remove my battery from my flip phone and separate it.
Wow.
And put it in foil paper. That was the old way, the old-fashioned way.
What
now
about people that are
my
cloning phones? Like also, it looks like the person in Telegram, they use Telegram and WhatsApp a lot, and they're people from other countries.
Yes. Yeah.
And lure people again. So I have to like block people from my group in my crypto group in Telegram.
Yes.
Block people in Discord. How much is that?
Clubhouse.
Oh,
Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Well, sadly, a lot of these bad actors, as you know, I don't have to tell you this, but just as a reminder for the audience, bad actors steal legitimate identities, legitimate person identifiable information. It could be a legitimate name, legitimate phone number, legitimate social media account, but a bad actor took control of that. It happens. It happens. So I'm very careful who I accept when they send me a request. I'm barely on Facebook. I'm more on professional social medias like LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'm very active. The others,
so it's not weird that I'm paranoid too, because after I dealt with so many scammers and all this stuff, it's like I don't even I had to have a work phone. I don't
have two.
It's just,
I always tell people out there have two. Believe it or not, one compliance violation I've noticed a lot of startups and fintechs out there, because funds are limited. I get it. They use their personal phone for business. You got to have that separate, people out there. That's compliance. That's a free compliance advice. You got to have separate, especially the executives. I always tell the executives, because as a chief compliance officer and as a lead investigator, I work very closely with the executives, the CEOs, the CFOs, the COOs, the CTOs, and the cyber people. I say, are you calling me on your personal phone? They're like, call you right back, because it's a habit.
So question for the people that are in the space and the crypto space as business owners like me, how important is for them to know that when you're doing business with other people in other countries compared to United States, and we discussed that before. Tell people how important it is. Like I got somebody a couple of days ago that just contacted me from Russia. They wanted to do business with me. They wanted me to get into their website and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I don't like your website. I'm going to tell you, America's here. I didn't know that was in Russia. But anyway, I just then blocked the person. How important is be careful who you talk to, be careful who you give services to. Can you comment on that?
I'm so glad you brought that up. Brilliant question, because that's a question I also ask potential clients. I always ask them, they're like, Lord, they'll throw everything at me. I'll let them speak. And my first question is, where do you want to operate? Which country? Because for other countries, there's nothing wrong with operating and consulting for Russia, for other countries. But as you and those out there who are American citizens, have US companies, Russia in the United States is a sanctioned country. So I always tell my potential clients, where did you want to operate? And I forget that I speak in law enforcement terms, operate along, intelligence terms. Where's your mission? Where do you want to operate? So I basically say, which countries do you want to offer your products and services? And then they'll tell me the countries. And then I say, well, depending on the client, because I have a lot of clients who are not American citizens. I have a lot of clients outside the US who are not US citizens. So my question is, which countries you want to offer your products and services? One, which countries do you want to register your company in? And then third, where's your citizenship lie? Because I have a lot of potential clients and a lot of current clients, I should say, I have current clients who live in the US, are not American citizens, operate outside the US, but register their company in the US because they live in the US.
So question, if somebody lives outside the United States, if somebody is an American citizen and they live in Mexico or is outside the United States, will they still be tied to the laws of the United States because they're American citizens?
Absolutely. And for those in the audience out there, if you're a US person with a US company, but want to operate outside the US, ask your compliance team, your risk managers, or consultants like me, an external, advisor like myself. Hey, which countries are US and UN sanctions? Because that's our job to know. And just Google it. Go to US Treasury Department's website and Google, is this country a US UN sanctioned country? And half the time, the US Department of Treasuries will provide which countries as a US person should not be operating in, meaning don't provide services or products in, do not talk to people there, don't even consult with them over a phone, don't go on a Zoom call with them, don't even breathe their air because they're a sanctioned US country. You didn't know that, right? You did not know that you as a US person with a US company should not be talking to someone from Russia, in Russia, Russian-based. You did not know that. But you did, but you were smart. You reached out to consultants like me and say, hey, should I be doing that? They're like, I'm sure.
And then I blocked them. And I said, no,
I'm sure
I'm sorry,
that person told you.
Because they wanted me to trade for them. And I said, no, I can't. No, zero.
No,
and I don't trade for people anyway, but no, zero. No, thank you. Right. So
not you as a US person, not you as a US citizen, and not you as a US company. I'll give you a perfect example. And I'm so glad you brought this up because this is so important. I have a few clients who are US citizens, registered their money service business in the United States, but only service particular countries outside the US. And I constantly have to, and then they have compliance officers in those countries. And they have investigators in those countries, which they need because that country's operating, that money service business, my client is operating outside the US in those countries. So when they hired us, and I said to him, I said, look, I'm glad you hired us because you hired me as a chief compliance officer because you're a US company, you're registered in the US, but I'm glad you hired people in those countries because we need them. We need those country managers, boots on the ground, people who are from there, live there, understand the culture, understand the laws and regulations. But number one thing you have to remember, because you're a US registered company, US laws, rules, and regulations are going to trump that country's rules, laws, and regulations. Because they're registered in the US.
So this makes it very difficult for us business people that are global.
Crypto.
Basically, yeah. So it will be easier for me just to serve people within the United States. Is that what you're saying? And just forget about the rest of the world? Like seriously?
No, it's easy to support because my clients are in Africa. My clients are in United Kingdom. My clients are in Europe. We're in the process of partnering with people in the Middle East. clients in the Middle East. No, it's a challenge. How's that? It's a challenge, but it's possible because crypto is global. I always remind people, like I have to my current client, hey, I remind him all the time, hey, you're registered money service business in the United States with FinCEN, which is the United States Financial Intelligence Unit, a regulator. I know we operate, you offer product services in Africa. I get that, but I just want to remind you, you know, our US laws, rules, and regulations that go to trump those in those African countries you operate in products and offer products and services. Not only do I have to work with him, I have to work with the engineers. I have to work with marketing directors and people who advertise, because they don't know. Here they are advertising on our website, on my client's website. I'm like, I actually saw a flag. I'm like, because, you know, they have the country and the flag, and my face just dropped, and I got on a call immediately with the CEO, legal, and the director of marketing, because the director of marketing forgot to come to me to make sure it was compliant, that country. I'm like, you cannot market.
Can you tell people, like, as individuals or institutions, what are the fines so that people understand where it hurts? What are we talking about, including criminal and
civil fines?
And how bad is it? Because I don't think
people might
understand how bad it is.
Look at FTX, look at Bitsgap, look at Alameda Research. I can go down the list. Look at the banks, the US banks that suffered because they were affiliated with FTX, Alameda Research, and Bitsgap. And I'm sure there's more to the story. I'm not going to bore us with the details, but people can Google it. Fines are huge. The term enforcement action is not good in compliance. I never, ever want to hear enforcement action against my client, because that's on me. I'm the chief compliance officer. My job is to make sure that my client's company, the little startup, the little fintech, doesn't end up in the front page of the Washington Post or the New York Times, or the Wall Street Journal or the Financial Times. So enforcement actions are big. You get shut down, you go to jail, you get arrested. Look at the FTX guy, they arrested him. And also, not only does the CEO go down, that's why chief compliance officers are always beating that drum, reminding CEOs, reminding people, relevant partners in the companies, that chief compliance officers can go down with them as well. We're responsible, you know?
So question, why is it
the US regulators can come after us?
My question is, if all this, if this is so urgent and important on be careful who you do business, or be careful where you put your money, how come we got huge, what you call it, bad actors? Like, I don't know if you heard of Hyperverse, Novatech. There's different reincarnations of these scams that keep popping out, because
always will.
Because and the SEC was dealing with FTX. How come they didn't pay attention till it got too bad? Well, I don't work for the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. The SEC. And, you know, my clients keep calling it SEC. I'm like, no, in the US we call it SEC. And again, I remind them that question I cannot answer, but I can tell you from what I read in open source reporting, you know, on the news, open source intelligence, OSINT. I think an audit happened, because entities get audited. So an audit happened and found out that, according to open source reporting, that FTX was using Alameda Research funds to pay their bills. Everybody knows when you have a business, you have to have separate accounts. You cannot use your personal account to pay for. Correct. You couldn't. Exactly. Thank you for that. You cannot commingle funds. And according to open source reporting, FTX was commingling their funds. Then come to find out, who does this? The FTX CEO was living with other executives in the Bahamas. I'm a chief compliance officer. I'm considered an executive. You don't see me rooming with my CEO of the clients of the companies that I'm handling. That's weird. Who does that?
It's like a reality TV show. Are you kidding? You're the CEO because there's a conflict of interest. Another thing that I talked to one of my clients, speaking of conflict of interest, don't live with your executives. One, to me, that's a red flag. And two, don't be best friends with your legal counsel. General counsel has to be separate, has no biases, has to be objective from you went to high school together or you went to college together. You know, I won't say the name of the entity, but they were outside the US, and the legal guy who, because a chief compliance officer like myself, have to work very closely with legal. I don't care what country you're in. I need to know legal. I have to have a working relationship with legal. He kept disagreeing with me, and I kept justifying why, you know, because when I tell my client why, I'm going to have justification. I'm not going to pull it out of my ass. I'm going to justify it to you. If I'm bringing in evidence, it's going to be solid. If I'm bringing you intelligence, I'm going to bring you sources. And if I'm going to have a meeting with you, there's a reason. I don't have time to chit chat. So I had this, and then come to find out, and I'm like, so I talked to the CEO. I said, why is legal giving me so much shit? What is his problem? I thought maybe it was a woman thing, a cultural thing. I'm an American. He's not. Come to find out, he goes, oh, let me talk to him. He's my best friend. I'm like, okay, now we got a problem.
What?
Yeah. And I said,
Yeah,
no,
because that models the business and pleasure. And when you want somebody to work for you, they have to be objective. If you're too close to that person, it doesn't help. It's like, that's why the doctors don't take care of their children.
Correct. Right? And and legal and anybody should not have a vested interest in the company, because then you ignore compliance. So I realized there was a problem when legal was giving me a lot of shit. I'm like, there's something wrong here. Either he's hiding something, because when legal gives me a hard time like that, I'm not going to get into the stories. There's a lot of red flags, and my investigative hat kicks in. I'm like, either he's hiding something and I caught him. He's hiding something that he doesn't want me to find out. Wow. Not good. Legal and compliance and investigations have to work very closely together. And if you're difficult, it's a red flag. And I had a talk with the CEO. I'm like, we got a problem. So anyway, I ended that contract because I don't want to get involved in that. You cannot be best friends because like you mentioned, you're not objective. Then you have a vested interest. Yeah, I even had a client that had cybersecurity, had like owned 80% of the company. I'm like, no.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, because cybersecurity was not listening to my compliance requirements. I'm like, so people out there, if you give compliance a hard time, it's an indicator to us there's a problem with you. Wow. So our red flags, indicators, and then we're going to start asking more questions, and it's going to get pretty ugly for you. From a compliance perspective. Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So can you let's summarize all this stuff and give the people the importance of all that we discussed. Please, guys, do your own research, because
due diligence.
This is not financial advice. This is not tax advice. This is not compliance advice. This is just
not legal advice.
Be aware of what's happening in the space and how you can protect yourself and your investments.
A great question. And just to caveat one more time, if I didn't in the beginning, you know, Ralytics, our disclaimer is we're not offering legal advice. We're not offering financial advice. This is all from my own experience out in the field. I have over 20 years of experience. But due diligence, enhanced due diligence. You know what? A $300 risk assessment that you're going to pay out of pocket is worth than your reputation. I had someone call me and say, hey, what we should do. And I reach out to this vendor. Their risk assessments are minimum $300. You can do your due diligence with them. I will pay that $300 and have that third-party vendor do a risk assessment and keep it on file. So when I do partner with that client, if something happens, I can go to my auditors, legal, law enforcement.
Cover your butt, right?
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, I have a risk assessment here. I paid for this big entity to do due diligence on this vendor. Don't look at me because I did my due diligence. Due diligence. And I'm all for crypto. People ask me, it's like, are you anti-crypto? I'm like, absolutely not. I'm pro-crypto, people. It is not going anywhere. I am pro-crypto. I invest in crypto. I trade in crypto. I purchase things with crypto. I would love to one day get paid in crypto. I mentioned that to my CEO.
Yes, that's
Maybe
great.
get paid in crypto,
So
man.
I think both of us can agree that what is the main thing for us is that we want people to grow in this space, do it the
Yes.
right way, and
Yes.
protect themselves in the businesses, whatever it is, if you're individual, institution, or whatever, protect your legacy and your credibility in the end, because
your reputation. And plus,
yeah,
you know, you know, you don't want to go to jail. You don't want to get arrested. You want to be fined. You don't want your face plastered on the front page of the news. Do your due diligence. And for those out there, a lot of people ask me, Lourdes, where do you have wallets? Where do you have accounts? And I'm like, I'm not going to disclose it, but I can tell you one thing. They're US based, and they have, and I know for a fact, they have strong AML and CFT controls, strong anti-money laundering controls, strong countering and financing of terrorism controls, you know. So I only stick to US based companies that have a strong reputation. Yeah,
so next
it's a
time
risk. It's a
so I'm
risk.
hoping that we can have you another time for you to talk about AML, anti-money laundering, and what was the other thing you said? The anti-laundering?
CFT, countering and financing of terrorism.
That one, those two things, because
combines-
I know that this thing, we can be talking here hours and hours and hours, and I want to respect your time, and it's been an hour, so let's just wrap it up. This is important, guys. This is very, very ultra important for you as an individual. You can lose your livelihood, you can lose your freedom by going to jail, all kinds of stuff. And so protect yourself and contact Ralytics. So you guys have a website? Where can they go and find you if they need help from you?
Yeah, Ralytics.com. You can also email me at info@ralytics.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. And just Google Ralytics on LinkedIn. You'll see my face plastered there. And Crazy Cow, you're a badass yourself. I want to shout out. I mean, when it comes to cybersecurity or trading, I'm contacting you because you are the go-to Latina. You're the first person I would definitely reach out to, from one Latina to another. Crazy Cow, you're a badass. I'm so glad we met. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much. And guys, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell, and comment and share. This is Crypto Rican Queen, bringing the gap between the rich and the poor, coming for the great state of Texas and the great territory of
Miranda.
Lourdes Miranda from DC, right? DC, right?
Washington, D.C., originally from New York.
The DMV area, which I love that area. See you guys later. Take care.
Go Boricuas. Bye.
Take care. Bye.